want to do. So today, we're going to cover time management. And what we're trying to do is give you a bunch of tools that you can use not for our job. Which the funny thing about this job is this job isn't for this job. This job that you're doing is for whatever other job you want to do. So I'm perfectly cool with that. This is what's called a stepping stone organization. We're going to help you step into a different organization later. However, the best of you, we're going to try to keep. We're going to try to keep as DMs. And I know I was talking to my partner, Jeff, who runs another company that's a $40 million construction company. And we were going through the names of past DMs to see if we can hire. One of those names is Liam. I don't know if you're on this call, Liam. I put you on the list. Kate and Herman's on the list. So we've got the best people in the National Services Group family. And with that, I'm going to share my screen. I don't know if it's going to work right. But let's see if this works. Where does it say slideshow? That won't let me start the slideshow. Here we go. Now, which screen are you seeing? Are you seeing this screen with one slide on it, or are you seeing this screen with notes and stuff on it?
We're seeing multiple slides.
Both screens, yeah.
Well, that sucks. Let's try that again. Let's share screen one. Here, now you guys, now can you see it?
Yeah, it's good now, man.
One slide. Who said that? Was that Jack? Thank you, Jack. I don't know if you guys know Jack. Jack is the 2-time $1 million DM, and I made a discovery today. We actually have a plaque with Jack's face on it. If you do $1 million, I put your face on the wall. And the reason why I put Jack's face on the wall, way back when, the first guy that did $1 million, he was an egomaniac. And I thought, what can I do for Brian that Brian would care about? And it was put his face on the wall. And there was a second person who was even more of an egomaniac. So I put his face on the wall. And then we had Matt Rudig, who's a really nice guy. And then we had Jack, who's like the nicest person on the planet. So I realized like yesterday that there's been an evolution of $1 million DMs. And they went from kind of robot to narcissist to nice guy to nicest guy in the world. So Jack, thank you for being the nicest guy in the world for helping me out with my slideshow. And I'm going to spread you guys out a little bit here so I can see more of you. So welcome to CollegeWorks. You haven't started yet. Still got a few weeks till we start, somewhere between 3 and 7 weeks. We got 2 different trainings. We're super excited to have you. We've got all the DMs raring to go. We're going to put our blood, sweat, and tears into this, and we know you will too. Well, maybe no blood, but definitely sweat and probably some tears. But that's okay, because if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. And the Dalai Lama said, that which brings immediate pleasure usually brings long-term pain. That's like eating ice cream in bed. You got to go work out for days. That which brings immediate pain usually brings long-term pleasure. So we've had about, I don't know, 30,000 people go through this company. We've had Congress people. We had a guy sell his business for $990 million. We've had a lot of people start companies, a lot of people sell companies, doctors, lawyers, scientists, people at SpaceX, Facebook, Google. Facebook and Google recruit directly out of our company. So you're in a great group of people. It is a tough internship, but if it isn't tough, it's not worth doing. And there's been lots of people that made it through, including me, and I was the absolute worst in the company. And then it fell apart and I restarted it. This is what I do for a passion, and this is what I do for work. And this is what the DMs do for passion, and this is what the DMs do for work, and the VPs. So we're here for a reason. Can I change slides here? Can I change slides? How do I do that? So you can see we've got a few companies. We've got the National Services Group company, which is just a made-up company. And it's made up to serve all the other companies. Oops, I went back the wrong way. Now I got to go to I have to use my mouse for this. So National Services Group is just an umbrella business that does the service work for all the other companies. So all the accounting, all the reception work and customer service, all the filings of paper, all the back end stuff that you guys don't want to deal with. We deal with it at National Services Group. And when we named the company, my partner Jeff came up with the idea to call it NSG, and then we paid $1,000 for that logo. And it turns out it's his wife's initials, so he pulled one over on us. But our operating businesses We've got College Works, our flagship business, the first company we ever started. We've got Home Genius that does home improvement, but only on the East Coast. We've got Empire Community Construction. That's a $100 million construction company that basically makes sure that the towers don't fall. We have an engineering firm with 26 engineers in Colombia, believe it or not, 4 in the United States that works with Empire. We've got a property business. And then I put this EO logo down here because I used to be chairman of the board, of the global board for the Entrepreneurs Organization, which is a worldwide organization of 25,000 entrepreneurs that all have businesses. And I used to travel the world and meet with entrepreneurs. So all my life, all I've done since I was 20 years old is either start a company, help people start companies, or travel the world helping people with their companies. So you are in good hands. Most people start with all their titles, which I normally don't do, but this time I did. I like to start with what I stand for. So this is where I get a little cheesy and a little parent-like, because I am a parent and I have a kid who's a sophomore at Tulane University, and I've got a daughter who I just spent 2 hours, 2 hours of my time planning her East Coast college trip, because she promised she'd never go to the East Coast for college, and she skipped out with her brother. So I just had to book 6 trains, 12 hotel rooms, 6 flights. Took me forever so I could take my angelic little daughter off to look at colleges. So when you think about how lame your parents are and how much you're sick of them, which is definitely what my daughter thinks about me, think about the time and energy they put into you. And I'm giving you that message. Feel free to text your parents how much you love them. Feel free to thank them for what they've done for you. Feel free to think a little bit more about how wonderful they are. Because as a parent, I get beaten up by my daughter all the time. It's really cool to me. So my family mission, which is super cheesy, I know, but this is what people do. They think of this shit. Live and love fully and help others do the same. So that's what we're here to do. A mission is why you're here. I'm here to live fully, and I do jump out of airplanes, swim in the ocean, ski off cliffs, mountain bike like a Red Bull mountain biker, and then help others do the same. The vision is where you're going. We're going to success and happiness, chasing happiness. And then these are my family values. And when I say my family values, I really mean my wife and I made these up and our kids think we're crazy, but integrity, honesty, respect, freedom. And we're going to talk about freedom. That's why you're here. You're here to work your asses off. So when you're my age, you can do whatever the hell you want. And that's where you get balance. But balance isn't about today. Balance is about a lifetime and a few months. You're going to get right now, you're a little whacked out of balance. Like my son just came back for Christmas. All he did the entire time he was here was go up to his room, drink Trulies, smoke out of his vape pen, even though he doesn't think I know he's doing that, stink up my whole house like a skunk's living in the house, sleep until 4, and then go do it again. That's not balance. Seems great, but that's not balance. He forgot to work today. Other people that are my age, all they do is work. That sucks too. We're going to try to set you up so you can have fun, you can work, you can do well in school, and 75% of you will have the best grades you've ever had while you're doing this program, because when you get busy, shit gets done. Contribution, so that's the charity work I do, the community work I do, being on the school board, chair of the school board, all that stuff I do is contribution, and then love, because my wife made me put that there. As I said, this is my passion. So in the beginning, I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I'm in this stupid painting company. I don't want to be a painter. And then I realized, wait a second. I don't know how to do anything. I can't fix shit. My wife does it all. I'm a teacher. So my dad was a teacher. I always wanted to be a teacher, but it didn't pay enough for me. So I figured out a different way to teach. And at work, I teach. At work, I help you guys. I help high school kids get into college. My friends' kids, my kids' friends. I help college kids or college people find their careers. Some of them work here. Some of them are my friends' kids. Some of them are random people. In fact, one of you on the call today I thought was a random person. I was trying to help them out because they listen to my podcast. Turns out they already work here. I've been the chairman of the school board, chairman of the Entrepreneurs Organization, all that stuff, because I'm all about helping people find their passion. And I'm going to do a little plug for my podcast. I did this podcast for people that don't live in the Midwest, because we don't offer College Works in the Midwest, and for my kids. My kids don't listen to it. They think I'm lame. Their friends don't even know about it. But we have one of the top 100 business podcasts in the US, and it's all about what careers are out there. So you guys know of probably 30 careers, you know, fireman, policeman, nurse, doctor, all the stuff you saw on TV. You know what your parents do, you know what your friends' parents do, but you don't know what a real estate analyst is. You don't know what an acquisitions agent is. You think about real estate, you think about Flip or Flop and that blonde lady driving around in her white Bentley, and she lives right by me, so I see her all the time in her white convertible Bentley. That's what you think about when you think about real estate, most likely. There's 1,000 real estate careers. Some of them are great for accounting type people or analyst type people. Some of them are great for crazy people like me that go into sales. You think medicine, there's 1,000 careers in the medical profession. So what we do on the Edge of Excellence is we bring in really successful people. We talk about what they did in high school, what they did in college, what they do now, and we try to expose you to some careers. And then I make myself laugh the entire time. So every Tuesday I listen to the podcast on the way to work and I just laugh my butt off because I'm hilarious. Many of the jokes are inside jokes, but I encourage you guys, let me stop sharing. Let me go to a different screen. Let me start sharing again. If you haven't already done this, you can just go to Google. You can type in the Edge of Excellence podcast, and they've got it on Amazon, Apple, Audible, iHeart, every possible way you want to listen to it. It is audio, not video, but I would love to have you guys listen to the podcast. This week's episode, which came out today, is someone that's in enterprise sales. You may not even know what that is, so you can learn about enterprise sales. We have a lot of entrepreneurs on there. We've got doctors, engineers, lawyers, entrepreneurs, every profession that you can think of. Some of them worked at College Works. Some of them are just my buddies. It's about 50-50. There's some stuff in there about time management. There's stuff in there, stress management. The stuff I'm going to talk about today, we've got episodes on that. There's career finding stuff. So please feel free to go to the Edge of Excellence, hit subscribe so I can get into the top 50 because it bums me out that I'm only in the top 100. I'd like to be in the top 50, and hopefully you can get something out of it. That's why we're doing it. And I'm back to sharing my screen. You guys see the screen again?
Yeah.
And I know I'm moving fast because I always end on time and I try to end early. So I've already used 17 minutes just getting started. What wonderful time management I'm practicing today. So we're going to start off with stress. And so far today, I may have already stressed you out. Who is this crazy freak talking a mile a minute? Holy shit. What? Oh, and he keeps saying shit. What did I get myself into? This isn't what I expected. I want you to think about it. You can write this down because this is a fun exercise. I want you to think about the stuff that you're encountering in life. Think about how stressful it is. You got tests coming up. You may have had a meeting with your dad about how you only have 52 units and you're supposed to be a junior next year and you flunked statistics last week and you better get your shit together or you're going to pay me back for college. That's pretty stressful for my son. You may have had your dad breathing down your neck about put away the vape pen and go get a job. That's pretty stressful. You may have had some crazy stuff happen that doesn't normally happen to people your age. Should have never happened. That's stressful. You may have a girlfriend or a boyfriend that's breathing down your neck and you want to marry. That's pretty stressful. So I want you to think about all the things that you're facing and rank it from 0 to 100. 0 is you're laying in a bed of lilies, looking at the clouds, and you just won the lottery and you're just set. That's 0 stress. And then 100 is the most successful, most stressful thing that will ever happen to you in your life. So I want everybody to kind of write a couple things down, think about a couple things, put it on a piece of paper. You don't have to keep the paper. Just I would take notes today, though. I would take notes. By the way, if you just listen to me, you're going to retain about 10%. If you listen and take notes, you'll retain upwards of 30%. If you listen and take notes and review your notes later, you'll get up to 70%. So if you're in school, read your notes when you get home from school, and you're tripling your retention. I do have a white paper with everything I'm saying today, including the slides and the screenshots. You can email me if you want it. Hey, Jack, will you just put in the chat my email address?
Yeah.
I'm Stewart at NSGmail. And people that want it, I will fire it off to you, and then you just have all the notes there. But go ahead and write some things down. I'm going to ask a couple people to just volunteer. And I'm going to get a piece of paper. Volunteer one or two things that are stressing them out. We'll talk about it. Who's got some? That Amani? You just volunteer?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things that's stressing me out is I could say the balance of my current job and education.
Okay, balance, job, and thank goodness. I was telling my buddy, my kid thinks I'm lame for making him work. Sometimes people have to work like I did. Sometimes parents are mean and make their kids work. And I thought, God, this sucks. But that's the key to success later. If you can get your work ethic down and a proven work ethic and learn how to put a few hours together and balance your time, you're way more successful later. Where would you rank that, Amani?
I would rate them. I would rate it as 30.
30. Okay. Who's got another one that they want to share? And you can just blurt it out. Or I'll have to call on somebody. And I can only see 8 of you at a time. So
I can go.
Who's that?
Sam.
Sam, what do you got?
Well, so I just got scammed out of $16,000 for an app design company,
Okay.
and I have a puppy that I just got that won't stop peeing and pooping everywhere.
Hey, what do you rank those?
80 from the scam, probably a 40 for this damn dog.
Okay, and the scam, I hope you use the credit card so you can challenge it.
No, I didn't realize what a wire transfer was. And what they were doing was, so if it's a really basic app, they're actually doing it for them. And they've been doing it for years. They actually completed it. They took the money, they gave them a product. But for people who had a complicated idea, they just kept raising the price until they couldn't pay for it anymore. And then hope you'd leave them alone.
Okay, well, you can email me and I can help you figure out a way to maybe get some of that back. I don't know if you can. By the way, my wife went down to the grocery store and bought $2,000 in gift cards and gave them to some guy on the phone so we could prepay our cable bill for a discount. So she got scammed there too.
Oh my goodness.
Which wasn't 16 grand, but you can email me and we'll talk about that. So
I appreciate it.
and it's Sam, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Sam's got an 80 and a 40. Who's got another one? Brianna, you got to raise your hand, Brianna. I think you were first on the phone, so you get the honor of throwing one on there too. Brianna, don't make me put my glasses on. Okay, good.
I was thinking about the balance between like doing this internship, and then I picked harder classes for second semester, so I'm a little nervous about that.
Where do you rank it?
I probably ranked that like a 40.
You guys seen this talk before? You guys all seen this before? Oh, yeah. I see this one already.
I think Kyle did it at the orientation.
I've seen the scale. I've seen the stress scale. Yeah, from Kyle.
Okay, well, Kyle sucks for stealing this from me. So we're going to move on to what I normally see because I've never seen what you guys just did. So typically, and I am going to have, oh no, typically what I hear is I've got no money for rent. That's an 80. My car broke down. That's an 80. I failed a test. That's a 90. My sister's getting married. That's a 90. My mom didn't get hurt, but she had a car accident. That's a 95. I'm having a hard time getting my partying done, my weed smoked, and hanging out with my boyfriend. Going to give that a 50. That's what I typically see. And I could tell that you guys had seen this before because I've never had anybody give anything a 30. And I've never had anybody give anything a 40. Never. Even a puppy crapping all over the house would have been an 80. Never had anybody go below the 50 line. Because typically, if you haven't seen this before, you blow it up in your mind bigger than it is. And that's the point I'm trying to make, but Kyle's a pain in my ass, and Kyle stole my thunder. And I like to tell a little story. So I got my angelic son. He just turned 20 years old. He goes to Tulane University. He studies business and design. He was the biggest pain in my butt when he was little, and he's now just an angel. But when he was really, really little, I took him to Italy. And why I took a little kid to Italy, I don't know. Good lesson. Don't take your kids over the ocean until they're double digits. I learned that the hard way. So I took Jake to Italy. It was a year and a half. And we went to Assisi, the town of Assisi, which is like one of those those cities on top of the hill. Joey's been there before. It's got the wall around it. You can just envision the Roman soldiers coming to attack the town of Assisi, and the Assisi soldiers pouring hot oil on them and shooting arrows at them, and they're way up on the hill so they can't get attacked. And they built the city way back in Roman times. So the streets are about as wide as my desk. And there's no cars there because they can't fit cars down the streets. And me and my son, he was in a backpack. Me and my wife and my son are cruising through Assisi, and we're having a great time, and he's eating capers, and we're feeding him pasta, and he's just sitting there, one of these things in the back of the backpack. And we decided to go to the cathedral in Assisi. And the cathedral is the biggest church, you probably know that. Underneath the cathedral, they have the catacombs. So the bishops are buried there, but they're not buried. They're in like concrete boxes, sarcophaguses. So they've got the bishops. They've got the Saint Francis of Assisi. He's there. And so you can actually cruise downstairs and go in the catacomb. And it's dark and moldy and nasty. And I hear my son breathing. He had asthma. And he had quite a bit of asthma problems when he was little. And a couple of times we had to rush him to the hospital. But usually we had hours of notice. So he'd start to go south. He'd breathing hard and then breathing really hard. And then it's like, okay, let's take him to the hospital. We drive him there. They oxygen him up. They shoot him with whatever they're shooting him up with. And, he's fine. But this was different. This happened in seconds. So we're in the catacomb, and he went from just having a great time to, I don't know if you can see, you could see every tendon in his neck. And he couldn't breathe. So we come out of the cathedral, and it's a beautiful sunny day, and there's a giant lawn here in front of the cathedral, and I take that little backpack off. It's got a little stand, and I look at him. He's looking up at me. My wife and I said, holy shit, this isn't good. And I knew it was happening way faster, because normally it was like 6 or 7 hours, and this had been 6 or 7 minutes. So we got to get this kid to a hospital. But I don't speak Italian. My wife doesn't speak Italian, and there's no cars in the season. Luckily, at the cathedral, there was a way up to the cathedral that the buses and cabs could come. So I flagged down a cab, and I walk over, and I got my son. We need help. We need a hospital. And the cab driver says, get in, get in. And he takes off through the town of Assisi, straight out of the movies. He's going 90 miles an hour through this walking-only town. People are diving out of the way. And my son's in my arms. And he's done. He's out. He's not breathing. His lips are purple. His face is white. And he's dying in my arms. And we're driving, and my wife and I are crying. And we pull up to this weird drawbridge, and some nurse comes running out. And I've got my dead son in my hands. And she comes up, and she takes my son, and she runs through these double doors, and the doors open up, and then they disappear. And my wife and I are kind of hysterical. And we go chasing after. And they shot him with whatever they shoot him up with, and they oxygen him, and they brought him back to life, and he was fine. And I tell that story because that's as bad as it's ever been for me. And that's a 95. My dad had a heart attack. That was an 85. My dad came to visit me the other day, and I thought he may have a little dementia. That's a 75. I don't know if your parents ever told you this, but if your parents are still married, they've almost been divorced. That's up there. When you're at that point where you think you're going to get divorced, which will happen to every married person, you either do or you don't. And I tell that story because typically Amani's balancing job and education, she puts up at a 90. And the 16 grand scam is 100. And Sam's puppy is an 85. And Brianna's balance is a 95. And I like to make the point that a lot of your stress is perspective. So yes, it will be hard to balance school and this internship. Some of you have this internship, school, and another job. Some of you are engineering students, have another job, 30 hours a week, and have this internship. Some of you are athletes, have another job and have this internship. Yes, that's hard, but nobody's dying in your arms. It's not a 90. It's doable. And I like to tell that story, and I hope you remember it, because I remember doing this internship thinking this was the hardest thing I would ever do in my life. And it was at that time. But every year since then has been harder. I ran a global organization, traveled around the world for 15 weeks, literally around the world over the course of a year 3 times, had kids at home, ran this business, and was in other organizations, and still got it all together because I figured out time management and I figured out not to let the stress freak me out. So if you look at the different types of stress you have, your mom having a car accident is real stress, but she's okay. So it's not a 95. If she's in bad shape, that's a 95. That's okay. It's okay to realize this is bad shit. It's okay to let the arrows of stress come in. Stress is the arrows coming at you. Anxiety is what gets through. Some people are good at sweeping the arrows away. Some people aren't. My wife takes medication for anxiety and has for 20 years. My wife takes antidepressant medicine and has for 20 years because she doesn't have the chemical buildup I do. So she got skinny gene. I got the mental health gene. She'd probably say I'm better off. I'd probably say she's better off. So you get what you get. You either get stressed out or you don't. But I can help you. I can help you because you ask yourself, is this real stress or not? If it is real stress, we're going to practice this real quick. You take some deep breaths. Everybody take some deep breaths. Ready? Go ahead and do it, Sam. I'm watching you. And what happens is the oxygen gets into your blood. The blood goes to your brain because we're animals. When we get stressed out, we're wired to fight or flight. And so our wiring is animal wiring. But what we really need to do is not fight or flight. We need to get the oxygen in our brain and think it through. So if it's real stress, and I've had real stress, I've had the company basically go bankrupt. We didn't file, but we had no money. That was pretty stressful. I've had all sorts of crazy stuff with my kids, all sorts of crazy stuff with my parents, all sorts of crazy stuff with my wife. I had 6 friends pass away in May and June last year from a variety of things. That's real stress. But when my cousin fell mountain climbing and died, I didn't freak out. I took some deep breaths, calmed myself down, and I cried. And I do that. I'll crawl in bed and cry. And then I woke up and said, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do to make this better? Sometimes there's nothing you can do, so maybe I go cry for another day, but I'm not going to sit there and cry forever. I'll stop and say, what can I do? He's got 2 kids. I can make them my kids. I can send them care packages. I can visit them at school. I can make their life better. There's something I can do to help out the family. And it's real stress, but I can only handle what I handle. Then you got other stuff that is just perspective or time management. You failed the test, get your shit together and study more. You got a bad grade, get your time management down. Was it Brianna? Yeah, Brianna's worried about a harder school load. Yeah, guess what? You're going to have a harder school load. And now you got a job. Well, later on, you're going to have a family, a job, maybe continued education, and something wrong with your mom. So you might as well learn how to deal with it now. So time management is a big part of stress management. If you get your shit done early, you'll have less stress. And then perspective. Your sister's wedding is not a 90. It's a 20. You don't have any money for rent. I get it. I've been there. I ate potatoes every meal. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. From like the 3rd day of the month to the end, my junior year of college. I had no money. It was stressful. But I knew that it wasn't as stressful as some of the other things I mentioned. So you guys are going to get some crazy shit in your life. This internship will not be one of them. Now, I did the internship, and still to this day, it felt like the most stressful thing I've ever done. Even though it went from 62,000 to 162 million in business. The bigger number should be more stressful, but it doesn't feel more stressful because I've learned to manage the stress and put it into perspective. That is stressful. It's not an 80 though. It's a 40. Take a deep breath and deal with it. Your car broke down. It's not an 80. It's a 20. Take a deep breath and deal with it because when you're all freaked out, you're not dealing with it. Midterms, time management, fraternity party on Saturday to plan for should be a 20, and that's time management. Broke up with my boyfriend or my girlfriend. That's stressful, but it's a perspective issue. And I like to tell that story because a third of your solution is just perspective, and another third of your solution is time management that we're talking about today. And then you just are left with the real shit. And the real shit's real shit. Take a deep breath and figure out what you can do. Any questions on the stress management part of this? No? You want to screenshot this one? If you're not taking notes, this is a good one to screenshot. These are the questions I ask myself. Is this a life or death situation? If so, get the help you need. Like I mentioned, my wife has real depression. That's a life and death situation. She got the help she needs. She's got the pills. She's got the doctor. Now she's dialed in. Seems like the happiest person in the world. But at the time we were figuring it out, right after my son was born, she had postpartum depression. It turned into permanent depression. We had to get her shit together and figure it out. So if it is a life or death situation, get the help you need. Is it serious now, but in the big scheme of things, not that serious? Take a deep breath and solve the problem. If it's just an issue and you flunked the test, like my son did, stats class, he knew, he'd been telling me all semester, get ready for this, Dad. I may not get a C. I'll probably get a D. Well, it was a D with one of these on the end of it. Well, you just retake the test. I mean, just retake the class. They erase that F and you get another one. Solve the problem. And then I like to figure out, is there anything I can learn from it to prevent it from happening in the future? So I look at when I lost all my money because this company is hard to make money at. It's hard to make money in a company that only produces revenue in the summer, that has new employees every year. Take deep breaths. What can I learn from this? How do we make this not happen again? I got a ticket speeding. What can I learn from this? Make sure the cops know that I'm never going to learn. Stop giving me tickets. So that was funny. So that's my process. And then the key is figuring out time management. Now I'm sure Kyle showed you guys this too. Kyle show you the Covey stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Been a while.
Damn it, Kyle. Kyle said to me like yesterday, hey, by the way, I did teach him the time management, so they're going to get it 3 times, but it's important. I'm like, what, dude? So I'll go through the Covey stuff pretty quick, especially since we only have 23 minutes left. Covey wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's probably the book of the decade. So every decade, there's some business book that's like the big book everybody reads. Jim Collins, Good to Great, Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Carnegie, it's slipping me right now. But basically, he found by interviewing a ton of people that most people do things that are urgent but not important. I better clean my room. I better get my email checked. I better get on Instagram right now. I better go check those TikTok videos. If I don't check TikTok right now, I'm going to miss out on what my friends are doing that's better than me. If I don't go on Instagram, I'm not going to see all those people that look better than me and have more friends. I better get on it right now. It's not important. And most CEOs, not most, but a lot of CEOs I know are not on social media at all. Probably the smartest guy I know, the guy, his name's Scott Olivet. He owns Dakine, Brixton Huff, LibTech, GNU, Fox, all these action sports companies, not on social media at all, because it's a waste of time. It's urgent and not important. And then you have not urgent and not important. And maybe you could put social media in there. It seems urgent because it's flashing at you. You better click, 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 click. But not urgent and not important might be more cleaning your room. Just wait. In my case, doing my expense report. I know they're not going to do anything to me, so why do it now? This is where most people live, and this is why most people don't get the freedom that you all want. This is why most people don't have the success you all want. This is why most people don't impact a bunch of people like you all want to, because they live below the line of not urgent or urgent, but definitely not important. And what Covey found was effective people are doing things that are important most of the time, but highly effective people are doing things that are important and not urgent. So today we had a call with the VPs, and Sean Phelps is talking about how the slides for training's already done. The handbook for training's already done. He knows who's coming to training already. He's got his agenda for his meeting this weekend already done. And he's cool as a cucumber, which is a really awesome thing, because he did it all before it was urgent. It's all important stuff, but other people would do it the night before. You got a test coming up, you're cramming the night before, you're stressed out, your blood's pumping, your heart's beating. Study for the test a week ago. And so the key to really being effective is time management. And so what happens with that is you get rid of a third of your stress. You got your sister's wedding, you already got your dress, you already know where you're staying, you already know who your date is, because you figured it out 3 weeks ago. You can just be there for your sister. You have something really big happen. Your mom does get in a car accident. Well, you're not going to flunk your test tomorrow because you've already studied. You can deal with your mom. So there will always be things that pop up. Some of the things that pop up are urgent. Maybe it's a customer problem now that you're in business. If you don't call that customer back, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. But if you're behind and you've been procrastinating and you've got 3 days worth of shit you didn't get done, you may decide to not call the customer. And every time you don't do something that's not yet urgent, later on it becomes urgent. And Sam, you can email me and I'll send you a whole document that has these slides and just about everything I'm saying. So the action plan, and this is a good one to screenshot or email me for, get a calendar. And I don't care if you use an old paper calendar, a Google calendar, an Outlook calendar. I think your DMs will want you to use a Google calendar some of the time, but you get a calendar and you start using it. Second thing is you set aside some time. Maybe it's this weekend, because who gives a shit about this weekend now that the Chiefs beat the Bills and the Bills aren't going to the Super Bowl? You can skip the whole football weekend, because why do we care if the Bills aren't there? And set aside some time to do time management. Or if for some reason you like the Chiefs and you want to watch the games this weekend, next weekend there's nothing going on in football. Set aside some time then. You need an hour. You need an hour to get yourself set up. You can do that right now if you want to pull out your calendar and set an hour aside. And then for the rest of your life, it doesn't take 30 minutes for the rest of your life. It takes about 15 minutes once you've done it a few times. Every week. You can do it on Friday night like I do. You can do it on Sunday night. You do it before the week starts. Does anybody know why every week you do your planning before the week starts, and every night you do it before the day starts? You don't wait till the next morning to do it. Anybody know why? Go ahead, Monty.
Basically, when you planning it the night before, it's better refreshing, before you go to sleep, and then that way in the morning time your alarms are just going according to the plans, or you already have, ahead of time, what you have prepared. And I about to say that goes along with your attire too. You do want to do your attire the night before as well as your, set your plans as well.
Yeah. So if you look at this right here, oops, there we go. Tomorrow, January, whatever day it is tomorrow, how do we do that? There's my schedule for tomorrow. Every day before I go home from work, I finish my schedule for the next day and I print it out. Why? Because I don't want to wake up at 2 a.m. going, oh shit, I forgot that test. Oh crap, I forgot whatever it is. Not COVID. Just talking too much. So you do it the night before because your brain knows you already have it done. So you all know, everyone on this call has woke up in the middle of the night going, oh my God, I forgot something. Or even worse, woke up saying, I think I forgot something, and you didn't. And then your heart's beating and you can't go back to sleep. So you do it the night before to let your subconscious know, hey, Hunter, you're okay, dude. Keep sleeping. Keep dreaming about that field of lilies and that lotto ticket and that airplane that somebody gave you. You're A-okay. You set your alarm. Relax. So you do it the night before so you have less stress. You have less heart attacks. You guys don't have to worry about that. I'm 50 years old. Holy shit, I'm nearing the end. I can't be having my heart beating out of control at night, waking up freaking out about things. So that's why you do it at night. And so if you do this planning before we go to training in the next few weeks, and you've got that hour set aside, you pull out all your standing commitments. And it's pretty easy. Your professors give you a piece of paper or a file that has all your standing commitments. You know when your classes are, you know when your study sessions are. If you're in a fraternity, they already gave you all the parties. Now you may not go to all of them because now you got a job and you got to pick and choose. But your fraternities have given you things. Your sister's wedding is already on the calendar. So your standing commitments are what you're already committed to. Classes, weddings, some parties. Your mom, don't forget about your mom, definitely your dad. Don't forget that you need to see them. There's a commitment to them. They raised you. Then the next thing you have deadlines. Those are your tests and papers and projects. You know the deadlines, standing commitments reoccur. Standing commitments are an appointment that you have. Deadlines are more than just a standing commitment. Deadlines have pre-work. Third thing, time-sensitive items. You have some time, you got to plant your vegetables in the spring. You can't wait till the summer. And then the unique part of my time management system is fun. If you don't put fun in, fun gets squeezed out. Now we're going to have fun. You can tell I'm having fun. Like I chose to do this meeting today. I'm standing up because I knew I'd be wild and crazy. I'm going to go home and tell my wife, my cousin just got here from England today. Tell him all about you guys, how stoked I am. But I'm also going home right after this. I'm not meeting with our new CFO that I usually meet with at 5 o'clock because he just started. I've already told him, Brian, screw you. I'm going home. I'm going to party it up and drink like a maniac with my cousin. Since I just said that, I got to stop again. My wife doesn't drink either. So I'm not endorsing drinking. And my wife, if she was here, is even more fun than me, and she never drinks. But that's what me and my cousin do because he's from England and people from England do that. So key to my time management is you put fun in. Now we got to talk about balance again. My son, come in here. Yeah, dude, this is impossible. I can't work 40 hours a week. It interferes with my partying. He's out of balance. He parties too much. He needs to work more. And I said to him, look, dude, you got to work 50 hours a week this summer. Last summer, I told him to work, if he worked 400 hours, I'd buy him a car. I thought, shit, I didn't want him taking his car to college. His car's a piece of shit. He had to pay for his first car. I thought, hook him up, get him a car. If he works 400 hours over the course of the summer, I'll buy him a car. He worked 263 hours. No car. Because he's having too much fun. So you don't get to fly the private jet and be the CEO of Goldman Sachs if you party all through college. But you should have some fun. Every Friday night, every Saturday night, for 4 years, I partied in college. Never missed one. I figured it out like halfway through. I'm like, wait a second. But I studied during the week. I got my shit done. I front-loaded my work. So you want to put your fun in there, and then you want to go back to pre-work. These two are unique to my time management, and the pre-work's the key. If you have a deadline like a test, it's not good enough to look at your calendar tomorrow and go, oh shit, I got a test tomorrow. You got to plug in time to study. So that's the key. So when you're setting up your quarterly foundation, you got your standing commitments, you got your deadlines, you plug some fun in there, and then you start plugging in pre-work. You got your history test. You know it's going to be 15 hours to study for. So you put 15 hours in your schedule over the course of the 2 weeks leading up to it. Y'all going to have finals. You know it's going to take you 100 hours to study for finals. You can wait till 4 days before finals start, or you can spread it out over 2 weeks before finals start. And if you plug it in, when you've got it in there and you're disciplined, you can have study, fun, girlfriend, study, whatever it is. The key is to plan too much time though. So I always put too much time for everything because that way I'm not always running over. So when I record my podcasts, they take me an hour to record. I would do like boom, 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 boom. And all of a sudden, the second one's 10 minutes late, the third one's 20 minutes late. Now I just plan an hour and a half to record each podcast. And then I have 20 extra minutes to do things like plan Kennedy's trip to the East Coast. Kennedy's trip to the East Coast took me 2 hours to plan today. But I had a meeting with Sean's wife that only lasted 30 minutes, not an hour. Brian, the new CFO, ditched me for lunch, so I had another hour. So things disappear, you finish things early, you have too much time. And this is when people go, wait a second, Matt, this doesn't work. How can you do that? I have so much shit on my plate. I've got work, I've got school, I've got sorority, I've got all this stuff. You have to pick and choose. You can't go to every party and work and get great grades. You can go to a lot of the parties and work and get great grades. You can't spend quality time with your significant other and study by yourself and eat by yourself. You got to combine things. Study, eat with your significant other. So plan too much time and try to multitask. Any questions on the quarterly foundation? And don't raise your hands because I can't see you, just blurt it out. Okay. Then I get to every night. So Sunday night, Friday night. For me, it takes 15 minutes now because I'm constantly doing this. Maybe it only takes 10 minutes. I'm constantly doing it. My schedule the night before takes 5 minutes because I'm always revising it. You spend 15 to 30 minutes. You look at the past week. So I go back in my schedule. I don't know if Maddie's on the call. I went back in my schedule and I realized Maddie and I were supposed to have a conversation a couple weeks ago. It's in my schedule. It wasn't a time. It was make sure to talk to Maddie. And thank God I went back or we would have never had the conversation. So you go back in your schedule to see what you forgot because you're human. You're going to forget things. And you figure out, okay, next week, is it all there? Oh, shit, I forgot my poli-sci paper. Oh, no, I have a group for engineering. So you do that, make sure you're all dialed in, give yourself a break, made some mistakes. And then every night, you see, did I forget something today? And I'm constantly moving things. And if I could show you my schedule, I don't know if you can see this. You can tell that these bars right here are a different color. They're yellow on my schedule because I didn't do them today. I moved them to tomorrow. And now they're more urgent tomorrow. They're not super urgent. I got my podcast recorded through April 29th, but I need to set the rest of my podcast. It's not yet urgent, but I know I've moved it. So what did I miss today? Do I need to change anything? Is everything there tomorrow? And so the quarterly foundation will look like this. I got my classes, my regular classes that are in light blue. I've got.
Excuse me, Matthew.
What'd you say?
Back to the last slide really quickly. I forgot to take a picture of it.
All right. And you can email me, mstewart@nsgmail, Jessica, and I'll send you a file with all of it.
Okay.
Feel free to screenshot it. So this is what the quarterly foundation looks like. You don't have much. You got your classes. You got Monday Night Football. You got a couple workouts. I got to put my glasses on. Damn it. Aunt Joni's wedding. I actually had an Aunt Joni. She didn't get married, but it says Aunt Joni's wedding. What do I have here? I got a final on a Saturday. That didn't used to happen when I was in college. You guys over now? You guys get finals on Saturdays, but it's gonna be a lot of space left over. Then you get the 1 week out, and oh my God, I'm getting busy. Still got the workout. Still got the classes. I'm going to go ahead and have breakfast with John, who's my buddy. I'm going to have lunch with Rachel, who's my buddy. I still got the wedding, and now you see the blocks for studying. And I always do things in 2 hour or 1 hour blocks, and I always change because your brain needs to change. Scott Olivet, the guy down the street with all those action sport companies, he says 50 minutes. So his schedule is 50 minutes, 10-minute break, 50 minutes, 10-minute break, and he's way more successful than me. But I got my study blocks in here. I've got calls to make for work because I got to call my customers. I've got work in here now. It's pretty packed up. I got to move you guys around again because I can't see what this is. Study with Rachel. Oh, okay, this is funny. So Rachel went from being a friend to all of a sudden, Rachel's my girlfriend. So now I'm studying with her and I'm multitasking. And then when I get to the day, I don't have much to do the night before. Joe's already studying with me. That's been in there for a week. Pamela's been in there for a whole quarter. This has all been here for a quarter. Only thing I plugged in was lunch and laundry. And this looks like a shitty day, right? But there's nothing after 9 o'clock. And I'm still getting my work done and pulling off a $200,000 a year. So your assignment, if you choose to take it, is to pick a day to do your quarterly foundation, get your scraps of paper, get your syllabuses, get everything together, lay it out, probably better before you come to training. You're gonna have a meeting with your district manager every week on Monday. It's gonna be probably 30 minutes to an hour. You're gonna have a drop-in call with your district manager every Thursday for 15 minutes. You're gonna be working on the weekends. So you're gonna have to make some choices. And you're not going to be calling us up going, oh, I didn't know I had to work on the weekends. You're going to work on the weekends. That's when your customers are home. You're going to do your marketing. You're going to book $100 grand worth of work. It's going to be 20 grand worth of profit for you. It's worth a little bit of sacrifice. So leave a little space, but you can lay out your quarterly foundation. You can pick a time and put it in your schedule. So it pops up and reminds you, hey, don't forget to plan the week out. Review it. It's easy for me. Before I close my computer down, I review it and print it. And don't forget your pre-work. And just a little note here, I color code things. Green is fun. The color of money is fun. That's where I have my family stuff. That's where my cousin is. This color blue for me is college works. This color blue is class. And then I do exams in orange and studying in yellow. The color coding helps. So now I'm going to stop sharing. Can I stop sharing? Any questions? No questions.
I have a question. What programs did you use to make that calendar? Was that just like on a Google or Outlook?
I hate Google. Google has ruined my life. So I use Microsoft Outlook. Also, my brother was chief of staff for Microsoft, so I'm kind of loyal to Microsoft since he was a big time executive. However, he now has an iPhone. He left Microsoft, but I use Outlook, but I'm also a lot older and a lot lamer than you are, Sarah. So most people would use Google, and Google has all the color coding. The other thing, it has the repeat. So if you have class Monday, Wednesday, Friday at the same time, you just put it in once and click repeat Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 10 weeks. And it's in there for when you have class and it removes itself. So you can use anything, but most people use Google.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Robert, you have a mask on. Are you somewhere public?
Yeah, I'm in the library.
Oh, he's whispering. He's in the library. And Brett is in a really cool library. Like your library, Brett. Any other questions? And Mackenzie Romback, you're not related to someone named Aaron Romback, are you?
I am not.
Used to work here. Who's one of my favorites of all time.
Dang, I wish I would have.
Well, maybe we'll remember you. That was like 25 years ago. I still remember her like it was yesterday. All right. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to end it 2 minutes early like we always should. I really appreciate everybody coming. I appreciate everybody being attentive. I hope this was helpful. We're going to have a lot of fun this year. We're going to work really hard. We're going to kick some ass. And I look forward to seeing everybody in Kansas or Indiana. But the Wisconsin folks, they screwed me over again. Wisconsin's one of my favorite states. I don't get to come see you till like April or May. They're sending Kyle and Joe and Jack. I think they're coming to Wisconsin. So you guys have a great time before training. Get a lot of fun done on the weekends. You're still going to have fun on the weekends, but you're going to have a lot of work to do. And good luck this year. Right on. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.